So sometimes our producers really just don't have the means, right? They don't have scales and barns to weigh pigs and feed systems that will tell them how much feed's delivered to each pen, let alone single-sided feeders to do that. And a lot of times we'll say, well, let's just use closeout data. So we'll just run a large number of barns, put the treatment in one half, not in another group or half of groups. How do you look at closeout data versus controlled studies? Because I think we're all kind of guilty of doing some of those we call field studies, where we just look at closeout data.
Yeah, I would actually say that I mean, field studies are important. Looking at closeout data is important. You just need to do it with the right set of lenses and interpret it correctly, because it takes a lot of, there's natural variation. Again, going back to the variation, I'm beating that drum, but there's lots of variation between group to group, even within a flow of pigs. There's a lot of variation between group to group. And for instance, if just ran a power test calculation the other day, if you want to pick up a 1% mortality difference, looking at barn as your experimental unit, you need, even within a single flow, that an example that I was looking at. So the same flow of pigs from the same sow farm, you need 30 barns per treatment group to pick up a 1% unit difference. Most people don't go to that extent to where they're looking at 30 barns per treatment, but that's the level that you need to gain confidence, at least statistically. Now, I realize not every producer can do that, and they have to do what they can to try to make heads or tails of whether a technology is bringing value. I say the other opportunity is to work with people who do have those resources and try to collaborate as much as you can and leverage university relationships, leverage other avenues to get that information, because it's pretty easy to get the wrong outcome if you just look at a small subset of barns, given all the noise that's in closeout data.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, is that, you have to, those barns all need to be, and we used to argue this, should they all be from the same feed mill? Clearly, we want them to all go to the same packing plant if we're looking at carcass data. Same diets, all of those things. And so it does become a little bit restrictive for people that maybe don't have that type of resource. The 30 is an interesting number. We used to do 16 for average daily gain was kind of that number for barns. So I think 30 is really interesting because 1%, we sometimes aren't even looking at 1% mortality, right? We're looking at
1% is a big difference.
Yeah, we're looking at a quarter or a 0.5%. Most of the time, we'll take a 0.5%.
And that was just in the nursery. So if you look at the finishing period, you need even more than that. Or the wean to finish period, you need more than that. So it's a tremendous amount of barns. Like obviously, if you have a system that has lower variation from site to site, then that number might be different. But certain traits require, and mortality is one that is an industry problem. So it's one that's relevant right now, that how do we improve mortality? How do we improve health from sows to piglets to nursery age pigs? It's a major area of opportunity, and designing trials that give you the outcomes that are going to be predictable and repeatable is extremely important.